Well, so, we talk about limiting beliefs and all that stuff. Okay, limiting in the coaching space, limiting beliefs are this cliche topic that, hey, we can talk about this really quick because it relates to everybody, but I don't think everybody realizes how deep limiting beliefs go. And limiting beliefs are actually generational. Like, it's easy for everybody nowadays to say, I can't get thin, I can't be an entrepreneur, I can't make money, anything like
Mhm.
that. That's the limiting beliefs that are really, really obvious. But you have limiting beliefs that are cultural, that are generational. An example is 3 generations back, your great grandfather could have said, hey, I saw a bear in the woods.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Infinite Abilities Podcast. I am your host, Nick Yerhart, and we are here to encourage each other to find our own unique abilities. Let's go. All right, everyone. So today I have Clint Marklyn. I'm probably going to stutter on that, but that's all right. And this dude's done a lot, and he has a lot to share. So, Clint, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, Nick, and thanks for having me. I guess I'll start at the beginning.
That's where we like to start.
Although I was born in New York City, I'm a small town Utah kid.
Mm-hmm.
Joined the Army right out of high school. I was National Guard and then went active duty National Guard. Been on 3 deployments. Married my wife, 12 years ago. We've got 3 awesome kids. We own a couple businesses, and we're one of those power couples. We thrive on life, and things are going well for us. No major complaints. I'm sure there's a lot of different avenues you want to talk about, but that's the
Oh yeah,
nutshell of me.
we'll get into it. So
Mm-hmm.
first, I want to say thank you for your service.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, can you tell us a little bit about your businesses?
So I'll talk about my wife first because her business dwarfs my business. She's in the Botox business. So she's
Okay.
been an RN for years, and then she decided to open up a Botox business where she'll inject out of salons and that sort of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
her systems, her processes, her dedication, and everything have just really, really taken off. And she's good. There's an art to the Botox and the filler and
Oh yeah.
everything. And my wife's good. She has it down, and it fuels her fire. She loves to make women look beautiful, and that's really why she excels. It has nothing to do with the
Mm-hmm.
product; it's that she really cares about it.
That's
And
really
then me,
awesome.
yeah, and then myself. So I have a life coaching, we'll say life coach slash fitness coach for men, fathers, and husbands called the Father Forge, and we are all about helping men succeed in their body, in their family, in their spirit, in their business. Because I figure if we can make you look and feel good, get you
Mm-hmm.
connecting with your wife, be more present at home, and get you making more money, then we're doing a good job at Father Forge. But we love it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. And you're so right. If you take care of all of that, like your whole life just automatically improves. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I know that from my own experience. You know, a couple of years ago, I didn't take care of my health. I ate junk food. I didn't exercise. But now that I pay attention to what I eat, I'm not perfect, but I do eat a lot healthier than I used to. And now I exercise, and yeah, like I feel a lot better. I can do more. I can walk further. I even fall down less now, and that's because like my body's happy. So when your body's happy, you tend to be a lot happier yourself too.
Yeah, that's well said. It really is the foundation of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we generally start with, the body and the nutrition with everybody. There's just so much tied to it, so much feeling. Just being able to commit to something to better yourself. We talk
Yep.
to men all the day and we say, hey, if you can't control what goes in your mouth, you probably can't control what's coming out of your mouth either.
Mm-hmm.
And little connections like that, and you realize, if I'm lying to myself about my health, I'm probably lying in other areas. It's
Yep.
it's connected to it all. It really is.
Yeah, and I love the saying, you know, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And I
Absolutely.
think that really ties into your health a lot. You know, just like you said, we tend to lie to each other or ourselves about, you know, our health. Like it's like you say you're healthy and you're not, and you know you're not, but you want to be, but you just aren't putting in the work to make it happen. And it takes a lot of discipline, like a ton of discipline. So, do you want to talk about discipline?
Well, it's the foundation of everything, you know.
Yeah.
It's and so we try to build it in a way that if discipline is a finite resource and you only have
Mm-hmm.
so much discipline, eventually you're going to run out and it's not going to spill
Mm-hmm.
into every other aspect. And so you have to use discipline correctly. You have to use discipline to build habits, to build systems.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start with fitness and nutrition and you pour all of your discipline into fitness and nutrition, you get your body right, and that affects the mind, get your mind right. Once that becomes habit, once that becomes like brushing your teeth, something you're never going to
Mm-hmm.
miss, you have all this extra discipline that
Yep.
now you can pour into your family, you can
Mm-hmm.
pour into your business, you can pour into your soul. And so treat discipline like a finite resource. Use discipline to build habit, to build systems, and then pour it into something else, then pour it into something else. And that's how we build this total man concept of the Father Force.
You know, I love that. You know, I've never heard it put like that. You know, make discipline a finite item. And honestly, I've heard a lot of people talk and go on podcasts. Never heard anybody put it like that. And I love that because that's what I've noticed myself. If I'm trying to be disciplined in 10 different areas, I tend to be not disciplined in any area.
Yes. Yep.
But if I'm disciplined on, you know, like for me, one of the harder I created was a morning routine.
Mm-hmm.
So that took a lot of discipline. And it was, you know, getting up earlier, you know, a good hour and a half earlier, so I had time to do a morning routine, and then the discipline to do all 6 of my, you know, things that I check off every morning. And it took a lot of discipline. And then I noticed, like, when I started doing that, you know, it was months of doing that, and I wasn't disciplined in other areas of my life. But yeah, like there is a definite moment where that became a habit, and then I moved my discipline somewhere else. So yeah, I guess I never thought about it. So I'm really intrigued right now. You got me thinking. So now I'm gonna I put that to work and use that now. So
Well,
I want to thank you.
it's so true. I mean, so I have one of those intense morning routines as well. And so when
Mm-hmm.
people come to be clients of ours, I explain to them my morning routine, and I'm like, don't do my morning routine. If you
Mm-hmm.
start with my morning routine, you got 1 maybe 2 weeks, and then you're going to start falling off, or you're going to start being rude to people, and
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna crumble, you know. And so we start everybody on the same foundational thing. It's fitness and
Mm-hmm.
nutrition. Let's take care of you, then you can take care of others, then you can take care of your mind, your spirit, and all that stuff. But you have to take care of you first. And so let's just get those two
Mm-hmm.
things down. Let's make those non-negotiable, your fitness and nutrition, and then,
Mm-hmm.
then we'll spill that extra discipline that you've got into other aspects. Because I like you, I mean, I'm up at 3:27 every morning. I do my meditations, my journaling, my workout, my cold plunge, my scripture study, the whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
if I handed that into a document, somebody said, "Hey, yeah, just do this. This is the key to success." It would blow their mind.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and so that's the way I've done it. And but now, given I've lived this version of this lifestyle between 8 and 12 years, and
Mm-hmm.
been building on it ever since. And that's
Mm-hmm.
all these things that people are struggling with right now, they are ingrained in habit in me. And now my next step is, okay, I've got all this extra discipline. Where can I pour it into study of my business and study of marketing and study of advertising. So it's
Yep.
ever growing.
Yep. I love the, and I'm a little jealous because you have a cold plunge, and I will
Well,
be getting one.
so when I say a cold plunge, I do have a, the cheap cold plunge that you buy off
Yep.
Amazon, and then I've got a
Mm-hmm.
cold shower. I still
Yeah.
prefer the cold shower until I get like a
Yeah.
legit cold plunge. I still do the cold shower.
I only take a cold shower.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to go. And I live in Minnesota, and I have well water, so
Mm-hmm.
my shower in the winter is 46 degrees.
Oh, I'm sure it's crazy cold.
Yeah, and I love it. And at first, like at first, but what I love about it the most, especially in the morning, getting a cold shower, it's that first hard thing that you can do to start your
Mm-hmm.
day. And then throughout the rest of your day, all the hard things that you have to get done are a whole lot easier because you did that one hard thing right in the morning.
Well, and there's a beautiful metaphor in there that if I can take a warm shower and then get out, I'm going to feel cold, and
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
my world will be a little bit harder by starting the day with comfort. Things get a little bit harder. Things get a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable. But starting the day with discomfort, if I start with a cold shower, the second I walk out, it's warm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how that little bit of discomfort will always push you to be a little bit better, a little bit happier, a little bit, just like you said, it's the first hard thing of the day, and
Mm-hmm.
then the rest of the day is easy. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes we have hard days.
Yeah. What do you got? Yeah. Yeah. And I swear by the cold shower, and
Yep,
most people that you tell, they're like, "Oh no, I can never do that." It's like, just do it.
do it,
That's
do it.
just do it.
You, you
Yep.
know,
And then
a
do it
couple of
again.
tips. Yeah, a couple of tips is don't ease into it. Go head first, head down,
Mhm.
walk right in. There's two schools of thought when it comes to taking a cold shower or doing anything hard. You can either call yourself, "Oh, I'm a bitch and I'm going to get in," or you can call yourself, "I'm a badass and that's why I'm getting in." And so in my
Yep.
world, I never tell myself anything I wouldn't want to be true. And so
Mhm.
I say, "I'm a badass." Head down into the shower.
Yep. Yep. And then sometimes it's hard to breathe at first.
Yep, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I think it's very important to pay attention to your discipline because
Hmm.
discipline is, in my opinion, the most important thing that we can use.
Absolutely.
I mean, it really is. So, what is another thing that you work with your clients on?
So it depends on where everybody's at in this
Mm-hmm.
program. Because I have some people ask, "Well, how long is the program?" I'm like, "I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. You can stay as long as you want." Um,
Mm-hmm.
because on the surface, everybody kind of sees. We post pictures of the people that have these transformations where they get the abs and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But what people don't see is the people that have built businesses within the Father Forge. What they don't see is when people call me and say, "Hey, I just had sex twice this week with my wife for the first time in our entire marriage, 2 times a week."
Wow.
I've had
Wow.
people that have said, "Hey, I haven't had sex with my wife in 6 months until right now." We work
Mm-hmm.
on we work on date nights. We work
Mm-hmm.
on finding ways for people to be uncomfortable so they can thrive. We teach
Mm-hmm.
people how to be empathetic. A lot of men can't be empathetic because they have too much going on. They're either addicted to pornography, their phone, eating bad food, and so they can never really
Mm-hmm.
figure out what's going on in their head. They can never figure out what's going on between one ear and the other. And so when their kid comes to them with a problem and says, "Dad, I need help," how are they supposed to be empathetic when they can't figure out what's in here? They don't know what their
Mm-hmm.
kid's thinking or feeling. They don't even know they are thinking and feeling. So all of that, all of that we unlock through a little bit of discomfort. And fitness is a metaphor for that. If you can spend 45 minutes working out, you can probably go another 20 minutes without getting on your phone. If you can spend 45 minutes in the squat rack, you can probably spend 30 minutes on your hands and knees playing Legos.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so it's all discipline, it's all discomfort, and it pours into every aspect of life, every single
Mm-hmm.
aspect of life.
Yeah, I agree. And, like, one thing that I believe in is get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Very, very well said. Yes.
Yeah, it's the more you can just get used to it and make it happen, the easier it gets. With anything you do, the more you do it, the easier it gets. You talked about that a lot so far, actually. Just keep doing things and they get easier.
Well,
And
and the truth is, at some point in your marriage, in your parenting life, in your single life, you're going to come up against something hard
mm-hmm,
to do, a tragedy, whether it be forced upon you, whether it be self-inflicted, whether it be intentional. You are going to come across
mm-hmm,
something hard.
yep,
And if you have not done anything hard to that point, you will crumble. You
mm-hmm,
will not know how to handle it. You will not be able to find whatever it is you need to sit in the next level of discomfort because you're very, very unprepared. And so
mm-hmm,
every day you should get up and challenge yourself, whether it's cold shower, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's reading for just 10 minutes. You should be putting yourself in an uncomfortable situation to grow and learn because someday a tragedy is going to happen and you're going to have to
mm-hmm.
be the dad. You're going to have to be the father. You're going to have to be the husband that can handle it.
Yep. I I, I agree so much with that. That's just so important. So, throughout your journey of being an entrepreneur, if you could summarize it in a nutshell, like hard, easy, worth it, not worth it. It's kind of a hard to ask question, but I need to, rephrase that, but you know what I mean.
So this is going to be different for me than most other entrepreneurs. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I have no pressure. I feel no need. So I'm a sergeant major in the Army. Um,
Yep.
and so I like it's not a monetary thing that pushes. And so
Mm-hmm.
I've got no pressure to succeed. My pressure comes from how I can transform the lives of men. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
How I can connect, how I can push. And so if I had one client or if I had 55 clients, it wouldn't matter
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not in this for really the entrepreneurship, for the money, for monetary reasons. And so
Yep.
for that, like I get joy, I get fire, I get passion from sometimes, and my clients will see it. Like I'll just hit some of them up on a random Thursday and be like, hey, just thinking about you. What's in your way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But the entrepreneur side, where it's hard, where it's what I love about it in my mind, I think of it as a game. And I'm trying to put
Mm-hmm.
all these pieces together to challenge myself to beat this game. Okay.
Yep.
Because I've worked for the government, right? So I've always had a paycheck. I've always had
Mm-hmm.
it
Yeah.
for 24 years. I haven't had to worry about those things. So now that I'm building something on my own, it's a game. And so I have to challenge
Mm-hmm.
myself to learn about marketing, advertising, profit margins. Guess what? The government doesn't take profit. And so I've never had to worry about what I spend, what I don't spend. Now I
Mm-hmm.
do. Now it's a fun
Mm-hmm.
little game of marketing and all that stuff. So where I get the most challenge is content creation. Content creation. You know, I'm trying to
Yep.
do this organically on Instagram and all that stuff. So content creation has been challenging. The marketing side, I read Russell Brunson, I read Hormozy, I read
Mm-hmm.
Cardone. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I do it. It works. But you
Mm-hmm.
have to have content creation. You have to have hook. You got to bring all that
Yep.
people in. And sometimes that feels disgenuine to me. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's hard, but it's a game. It's so fun to put a little bit of passion behind a
Mm-hmm.
video, and every now and again it connects, and you get in conversation, and then you find people are hurting. Somebody was interested in a burrito video of mine that I made, like just a recipe on getting fit. Just start talking to them, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm worried about diabetes, and I just got a divorce." And it's like, dude, let's talk. Let's talk.
Yep. Yeah, well, I love that you brought up content creation because I'm big into that. I remember my first video I ever recorded. That was February 21st of 2023. So, a year and a half ago. And I was so nervous. Like, I'm a person that I've never recorded myself on camera, nothing. Any videos that like family took of me, I didn't want to see it. I didn't like how I talked. I didn't like how I looked. All of it. So that first video was hard. But as we discussed earlier, discipline, consistency, it turned into a habit. And now, I don't make a video every day because I like to just pick one time to just make a whole bunch. But for, I would say the first 8 months, it was daily, 2 to 5 videos a day I was making. But what that did for me was really boost my confidence in myself. Like, I just
100%.
became way more confident. And, like you were saying, like, I've read, I follow Russell Brunson, Alex Hermosi, obviously Grant Cardone, and it's like, a lot of what they say, it works, but it's not me. So the chances of me following their, social media script, I really don't. It's like every now and then I'll throw a video that really goes along with what they teach, and sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. But usually, the videos that I get that do the most is the dumbest crap ever. So it's always annoying because it's like the video that you're not talking about your business, you're not helping anyone. Those are the ones that get the most views, most comments. It's like, come on, like, but yeah. So
But
that's
it's an avenue to conversation, and then conversation
exactly.
you can help, and that's really what it is, And I think it was Mr. Beast that said it's not about the first video, it's about the 100th video. And so I've been on this thing where I post just about every day for 8 months, and I went back through memory lane and watched some of my first videos, and I'm like, these are awful. These are so bad. So bad. And my wife was telling me when I was starting out, she's like, yeah, maybe try this. And me being the father or the husband to get a little defensive. I'm like, oh, you don't know what I'm going through. And then now I just take her advice because she knows.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, my first video I posted a couple months ago, and it sucked. It was terrible. In that first video, to be honest, I took 6 shots of Jack Daniels before I recorded it. I was so nervous. Like but we won't get into that. But yeah, so I know what you're talking about. That's awesome. So, my slogan is "Your abilities are infinite." What does that mean to you?
Well, so, we talk about limiting beliefs and all that stuff. Okay, limiting in the coaching space, limiting beliefs are this cliche topic that, hey, we can talk about this really quick because it relates to everybody, but I don't think everybody realizes how deep limiting beliefs go. And limiting beliefs are actually generational. Like, it's easy for everybody nowadays to say, I can't get thin, I can't be an entrepreneur, I can't make money, anything like that. That's the limiting beliefs that are really, really obvious. But you have limiting beliefs that are cultural, that are generational. An example is 3 generations back, your great grandfather could have said, hey, I saw a bear in the woods, don't go in the woods. And then your grandpa said, hey, there's bears in those woods. Your dad says there's bears in the woods. We're not camping people. And so you never camp. You just say, hey, we're not camping people. That's a generational limiting belief that you don't even know where it came from. You're just assuming it's true because 3 generations back, your grandpa saw a bear in the woods. And so how many of those things do we have? My family always does XYZ. My family doesn't go to college. My family's blue collar. And so none of that is true. None of it. But it's so hard to identify. So hard to identify. And so for your abilities to be infinite, you've got to kind of shed everything that you could believe is true. You've got to not care. You've got to be so open-minded that you could just try anything. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I'm 42 years old and I started a life coaching business with a little bit of entrepreneurial experience with my wife. Okay. Now, if you read the statistics on life coaching, the average life coach has between 5 and 10 clients at around the 2-3 year mark, and they never get above $30,000 a year. That's the average. Okay, so I should accept that? No, I should ignore it. I should straight up ignore it. Like, who cares? Who cares? I know I'm going to put my heart and soul into it and let the outcome come up. And now we're at 35 clients. We have a 6-figure business in 8 months.
Damn,
you know,
that's
I mean, yeah. What, that doesn't fit the scale. That doesn't fit what I should be doing. That doesn't fit the model of success that life coaches. It's because I didn't care. I didn't care at all. And so, yeah, I can do anything.
Yeah,
anything.
I love that, and I'm all for that. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be average. So, like, let's just make it happen. So yeah, I think that's very powerful. And one thing that you hit on was people tend to say I can't. And it could be because their family so friends or whatever. You gotta break free, and like you said, don't care. Just don't care. For me, I'll give a little story here. I was always so concerned about what other people thought of me out in public that I would not be myself. I would try to hide my disability, which you can't hide this shit. Trust me, you just can't. And then I did though. I tried, and once I learned how to not care, and I just said, I'm gonna be myself. I was so much happier. Like, so much happier. Like, who cares? So, anybody listening, like, I know our family is always the first to say, you can't do that, or you can't do that. I don't believe in that. Just go figure it out for yourself. And to stop saying, I can't, and instead say, how can I? Because that leaves the door open. That gets you thinking, and that is how you problem solve to make sure you get things done.
Yeah, and Nick, you brought up this brilliant point about a cultural limiting belief, and typically it's you are not going out, or you're trying to hide your disability because of what you think other people think, because you're not typical, and we're not used to seeing not typical people out doing typical things. And so for you, the culture, it's like, well, nobody else that's not typical does typical things. And so I have to hide what I am. That's a cultural limiting belief that probably people don't even realize, And so I have a son with Down syndrome. And right now we're it's his first day of school today. First day of preschool today. And we're putting a non-typical child into a typical situation. And we're fighting it. Like, hey, does we want to ride the bus? We're like, God, I don't know. Can he ride the bus? Yeah, he can ride the bus. I just don't know if we're ready.
All right. Yeah. So we're going over on time, but if you're okay with that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So I do want to talk a little bit about your son, and he's just getting into school, and I know you said he's starting at preschool, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you facing any challenges with the school system yet?
Yeah, it's his first day, so not yet.
Okay.
So, one of the things is there's a limited amount of special needs children where we're at, and so we have to kind of consolidate into one school, which is
Okay.
not our typical school. So I have the weirdest dynamic of kids, the weirdest dynamic. So my oldest child is great, big sports kid. He's in typical elementary school. My middle child
Mm-hmm.
is considered gifted, and so he's in advanced school. And then
Mm-hmm.
my youngest child is special needs. So
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to figure out the best way to get all of these kids to their right places. So
Yep.
right now the challenge with us is driving and time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
the the community that we live in and everything has been so incredible.
Awesome.
Will there be challenges? Yeah, I've talked to some other parents,
Mm-hmm.
and it is my belief that kids with special needs need time in normal or typical social situations,
I agree.
and that doesn't always happen to the extent it should.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that we plan on fighting for and fighting for early is like, hey, let's
Yeah.
get Hayes in a typical class for 15, 20 minutes, an hour, build him up. I
Mm-hmm.
understand the concern, like especially like with kids with some really deep autism spectrum or behavioral issues. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, they're too much of a distraction. It's like, yeah, but they need it.
Yep.
They
Yep.
need it.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I'll fight for that all day if that situation
Because
arises.
that's what I was hoping to hear. Because a lot of parents don't fight for things like that,
Mm-hmm.
and it really hinders the child. And like for me, my parents had to fight hard to get me into mainstream classes. You know, my disability just affects me physically, not mentally. Well, not mentally any more than anybody else. But so they had to really fight to get me into mainstream classes, and I'm so glad they did. Because you get to experience you know a lot more people, and obviously learn a lot more than you would if you were in special ed. But special ed programs are also really good. So, but I agree. Like kids need to get out into, let's say, the real world, just
Mm-hmm.
experience things. I think it really helps them grow and develop.
Yeah, and there's so many unknowns with
Mm-hmm.
everything, with every bit ability or disability. There's so many unknowns, but
Yep.
my obligation as a father of a kid with special needs is to do everything I can to set him up for success.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I can, and that probably means fighting for extra time. That probably means running him to special schools. That
Mm-hmm.
just means anything I can to give him the care, attention, and education that is fit for him. I don't know what it is. I don't.
Exactly.
And I'm excited to learn.
Mm-hmm.
A little shameless plug for the Father Forge is at one point I wanted to do life coaching just for special needs father,
Yep.
but instead I made a subgroup of the Father Forge where we have a little space that's our own that
Mm-hmm.
um,
That's awesome.
that we can, because the challenges are unique, and
Mm-hmm.
I think it's I think like you and I can share a certain amount of empathy that
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everybody can share.
No. Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. Yep. All right. Well, this has been really, really awesome. So thank you for being on the show.
Well,
I,
hang on. Do you want to meet
yep.
Hayes? Do you want to meet Hayes? You want me to?
Sure. Let's go.
Let me bring him in real quick. Real
All
quick.
right. All right.
Here's my buddy. Okay. So
What's up, dude?
Hayes here changed changed um changed a lot for me. I think I had some biases that I wasn't aware of, and some fears
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't aware of. And he taught me that I wasn't strong enough when I needed to be. You know, I'll never go through that again because of.
That's amazing. You're an incredible father, incredible human, and yeah, you know, my mom would agree with you. You know, like for me, I made her a lot stronger. You know, and just like you, he made you a lot stronger, and that's amazing.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. You kind of here. Let me put him out while he moans and groans. But sorry, going off camera there. It's just weird. You know,
Yeah.
it's an interesting dynamic of would you wish to have this, knowing what you know? Would you wish this away, knowing what you know? In my belief, in my heart of hearts, like the amount of joy and everything that Hayes has provided is immeasurable. Do I want to keep that? Yes. Would I want him to have a different life? I don't know, maybe. What I do know is both things can be true. That I want what he gives me in his current state, and I wouldn't trade that for everything. And I absolutely want him to have the best life he can.
Yeah, it is really hard because, you know, you watch your children struggle more than they should have to, and that's what's hard. Is you have to sit there and watch them struggle. You know, like for you have two other kids, so you know Hayes has to struggle a lot more than they did. So as a father, that's just hard for you to see. Yep.
Yeah, but he's changed our family in an amazing way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say in a really, really, really good way.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that was amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, how can people find you?
Oh, okay. So I'm on the socials. You can find me personally at Clint.Marklyn on the Facebooks and stuff like that. But the business is at the Father Forge on Instagram. That's kind of where we put it out. We got a small YouTube channel, but at the Father Forge or thefatherforge.com. And that's where we're at. But follow us on Instagram. Even if you don't sign up, we put out content. It's fitness, food, and a lot of mindset, a lot of lessons that people need to hear.
Amazing. And I'll put your links in the show notes so everybody can find you.
Well, thanks, Nick. This has been great. Just my heart is full, man. Really, really is.
Me too. Thank you. If you enjoyed this show, please go ahead and share it on your Instagram story and tag me here, the Nick Yerhart. Also, go ahead and share it anywhere else that you see fit, because the only way that I can grow this is by you guys sharing it. I don't sell anything on here. I don't have any sponsors, so let's just get it out there by word of mouth and help more people. Alright, everyone, remember, your abilities are infinite.